On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, we talk with Paul Bellantone about relationships, advocacy, and why promotional products rock. Hey everybody, once again, welcome to Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman, and on this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy, I have the true and distinct honor of welcoming the President and CEO of PPAI, Promotional Products Association International, Paul Bellantone. Paul, thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Kirby. This is quite an honor. I've been watching your other shows, your other episodes, and I feel like I'm part of an exclusive group. Thank you.
Absolutely, and you are. So thanks. As this show is going out, this is going to be the time for our industry's major trade shows, and our biggest, of course, is the PPAI Expo in Vegas. Whether it's our industry or really any industry, why are shows like this important to an industry?
Well, I could speak to our industry most specifically. Our industry is an industry of relationships. It goes so far beyond the products. We all know that there are 800 and 900,000 products that could be used as part of marketing campaigns. And I think by trade shows give an opportunity for the people to connect, not only to see the product, learn what's new, learn how they could be used, learn case histories around the products, but the trade shows that I see them are delivering for you every year and that are making sure that you're looking good in front of your customers. For the Expo, we go even beyond that. The PPAI Expo is really the industry's convention. It's the opportunity for the association to show ourselves, for the industry to be in the forefront. It's where hundreds of volunteer leaders get together. There's hundreds of hours of education, so both the promotional consultants and the suppliers are getting together to learn how to be better promotional consultants. So trade shows, as you know, there's literally hundreds of them in our industry, are a real important part for the two reasons. One of them is to get in front of the products and see what's new in the marketplace, but two, to really keep those personal connections that we find so valuable in our industry.
No, I'm a huge believer in that, and people still buy from people they like, know, and trust, and so I love that. I totally agree. In your position, you're a huge advocate for the promotional industry, and to a certain extent, I know that's a part of your job, but I feel like you've really taken that to heart. Why is that important? Why is it important for PPAI and you to be an advocate for our industry?
Well, there are so many reasons. We're a competitive marketplace. We can start at the bottom and work our way all the way up to the top. We're a competitive marketplace, and we compete against other media. We can compete from product to product. My point of view in that is that if we can grow the industry, then a lot of the issues that we may be dealing with as an industry kind of go away. We're no longer worried about price compression or commoditization. If we can talk about our industry, and we can talk about how valuable promotional products are, and we can talk about the value to the brand that's using promotional products, and give the compelling research that talks about just how effective we are, then I think we're in a better place. It makes your job easier. It makes you more valuable. It makes your customers more appreciative of what you're doing. The second part of this is really about growing brands and protecting brands. I know that your customers every day count on you to help them grow in front of their customers. My role as an advocate is to make sure that we're protecting brands as well, making sure that products are safe, and making sure that they're compliant, and making sure that they're meeting the needs both on a regulatory side and on a marketing advertising side. So we will continue to advocate for the industry. We will continue to advocate for promotional consultants like you. We believe that working with someone like you, Kirby, is more valuable than somebody just looking online for the cheapest product in the marketplace. So my job is to give you the tools that you need to go out there, talk about promotional products, talk about why they work, and then get in front of your customers with that information.
No, and for what it's worth, I appreciate it.
Well,
Uh,
good.
and speaking of that, I mean, I think as a part of the advocacy piece, I know one of the sort of events or initiatives that you and your team have put together is the PPWW, the Promotional Products Work Week. First of all, I love it. I think that's a really cool concept, and we've certainly taken part.
Sure.
But from your perspective, how has that gone over? And what could the industry, what could someone like me, what could somebody across the country, what could we do to make it better?
Well, Promotional Products Work Week is a major initiative of the association, and it falls right in line with the advocacy. And we've looked at Promotional Products Work Week as a multi-year campaign, although we position it as 1 week a year, but it's really about building momentum year after year. The first 2 years were really focused on being internal within our industry. And it's really making sure that our practitioners know what research is available to them and know they know the research that's available. We're all using the same language. Somebody calls it promotional products, somebody calls it ad specialties, somebody else calls it swag, somebody else calls it a tchotchke. Those aren't good things. We want to make sure we're all calling them what they are. We want to be recognized as a medium. We want to know that there's research available that's compelling, that we should be getting in front of their customers. Starting this year, starting in 2015 actually, next year's campaign, we'll be moving from an internal campaign and we're moving it more external. We're going to be talking to ad agencies and other in publications and really going out and reaching marketers with our message. So first couple of years, internal, it was about getting people connected to their legislators so that they know, so that they can communicate to government agencies about the importance of promotional products. It's about getting them engaged in their community. So, we had a volunteer engagement day. It's about communicating with customers. And also it's about communicating with each other. I know we had a number of suppliers running open houses. We had distributors running open houses. In 15 and beyond, you're going to see that outreach getting a lot broader. You're going to see us in marketing magazines and at universities and at business groups. And your company's been a big supporter of it. My goal is, we have 500,000 people in our industry, from salespeople to the people who are actually putting the imprint on the product. If we can get half of that number, a quarter of that number, engaged in promotional products and talking about telling our story in the marketplace, then I think that Promotional Products Work Week is a success.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you what, it's interesting you talk about it, but from my perspective, it's a way to separate too. I think the people who are taking part in that from an industry perspective are people who take the industry seriously, and so
right.
I certainly appreciate you and your team organizing that, because I personally think it's been a really cool event and a real success. So thanks.
Well, one of the things is we don't celebrate ourselves enough. We don't celebrate the good work that we do. We don't recognize ourselves for helping companies grow and keeping brands and retaining employees and growing employee engagement. We don't get behind, or we don't get in front of that parade enough and really call it our own. Promotional Products Work Week is a large part of that. It's us taking pride and recognition in the profession that we are, that we're just not another job. It's not just another sales position. This is a profession that represents $20 billion in industry sales.
Yeah, I sometimes say that we as an industry have a little bit of an inferiority complex.
Yeah.
And so, I'm excited that you're trumpeting this.
It's a shame that we do, because we're the cool stuff.
I totally
you
agree.
don't sit around with a printed ad in your pocket. You don't walk around quoting commercials. But when you give a promotional product to somebody, they say thank you to you. We're the cool stuff. We're the stuff that they want. And we work. So we need to get behind that and celebrate it.
That's cool. Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate you doing that, and I appreciate you being here. Now it's your turn to ask me a question. Everybody gets that opportunity.
It's actually a two-part question. Every time one of your customers has $1 to spend, Kirby, they can spend it in a number of different ways. It's they can use direct mail or newspaper advertising or radio or TV or point of purchase. They can go to market in a lot of ways. So 2 questions. First, how do you talk to them about the value of promotional products? And the second part is, how do you separate yourself from the other 20,000 or so promotional consultants and agencies that are in the industry?
So, great question. Actually, I think that one of the things, one line that I use, and I think we could talk about the value of it for a long time, but one line I always talk about is, imagine the worst thing that can happen when you hand somebody a calendar or a pen or a t-shirt or some sort of promotional advertising. And when you ask a client that, they'll say, well, they'll throw it away. And I say, yes, they'll look at it and then they'll throw it away. Well, if you really consider that, that's the best thing that can happen to most any other form of advertising. If a radio ad gets your
Oh, that's
attention,
brilliant.
yeah, if it gets your attention long enough for you to look at it or listen to it, and you actually pay attention to it, and then it goes away, that's success. But that's the worst thing that can happen to any promotional item that you hand out. In reality, it's probably going to have longevity beyond that. And then from the second part of your question, there are a lot of fantastic people in our industry.
Sure.
And certainly, obviously, if I'm doing this sort of thing and, you were kind enough to partner with me on the book, I mean, those are things that, writing a book is something that I've done to try and, separate myself and my company. But what I've found, Paul, is, man, there's plenty of business out there. If the ones of us that are, what I think doing it the right way, I don't think most of the time we have to trip over each other. I think there's plenty of opportunities out there, and I really just haven't. But by doing these things that kind of, I hope, separate me from and my company from folks who are just trying to sell you a pen. I mean, hopefully they do that. But once I've gotten past that, I think there are a lot of great people in our industry that people can work with, and there's plenty of business out there. So
I agree with you. We run some stats around here. There's 28 million businesses in the United States. Most of them are small business. The average order size in our industry is somewhere between $750 and $1,000. That's a lot of business. That's a lot of good business for good promotional consultants. So I agree with you. Good attitude.
Cool. Well, Paul, thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate you being a part of this, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do this again sometime.
I will see you in a couple of weeks, really, at the expo.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see you next time, folks.
See you then.